All right, everyone. The big news of the day, of course, the Balloongate scandal is ballooning up in size and in scope. We now have a second balloon actually over South America. Crossed over the Costa Rican area, and then it's hovering around somewhere around Venezuela at the moment. Now, clearly the Chinese are not trying to spy on the Venezuelans. I have a sneaking suspicion it was to look into either the Nicaraguan area. Of course, they have a military base there. Years ago, they announced that they were going to try to build a competitor to the Panama Canal. I predicted at the time that it would never be completed. Indeed, they have, as of several years ago, abandoned their plans. But they managed to get a nice sparkling new military base put in at the time. They figured, well, we're going to build a canal, but we insist on having a base there. Now you won't have a canal, you'll just have a Chinese military base right in the backyard of the Americas. Interesting how that prediction panned out. Could have been looking into the Panama Canal. Maybe they're fixing on sabotaging one of the locks or something there to disrupt trade and cause more pain for the Western world. Anyway, regardless of what that balloon's doing, one of them is currently floating around in the middle of the United States. Now, the tale being told is that it appears that this balloon is actually navigating using differential air currents by increasing and decreasing its altitude, using a remote-controlled guided system. It's plausible. It's not beyond the realm of technology to do this. So if the wind is moving in one direction at a certain altitude, another direction at a different one, you can choose where the balloon is going by rising and falling. The biggest problem is that when it's on the underside of those currents, it is well within U.S. airspace. It's also vulnerable to being attacked, but the Biden administration is pretending, despite literally telling people this is how the balloon is navigating and speculating it's a spy balloon, so hostile foreign state has invaded your airspace. It is possible, although difficult to shoot it down. They're saying, well, we're not going to bother. Even if we go up and shoot at it for a while, it'll take days to come down. Who cares? That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I think that they're more afraid that they'll try, they'll fail, and they'll be humiliated. I would consider it, though, more humiliating to have an enemy brazenly violating your airspace, potentially for a military purpose. It's hovering around for an extended period over goddamn nuclear silos, and nobody's attempting to do anything about it. That brings up two problems. First, if you don't shoot it down, and this is why Biden should be immediately removed from office. He's the commander-in-chief, the buck stops here, dereliction of duty, he's ignoring his constitutional duty to protect our airspace. He should be gone. He should be impeached immediately. Let it be a partisan vote, which is clearly what it'll be. He won't get physically removed. Make it clear to the American people. Make your case. Look, the dude who's in charge of the military is not carrying out his proper role. You can dovetail it with the border if you'd like to. I would say that that's probably appropriate at this time, by this time. The first problem is that when China sees that you can't or won't do anything about it, they're emboldened to do it again. This harkens back to a Cold War doctrine that we've known of for some time. If you tolerate shit, you end up getting more shit. And this is not, by the way, world police, imperialism, evil Western warmongering. This is over domestic airspace. Just to be clear, we're not talking about shooting down a plane over China. That's the first problem. The second one's even worse for diplomatic purposes for the U.S. Let's say that this balloon, it's being remote controlled supposedly, veers outside of the United States over Western Europe. Let's say it appears here over the Netherlands, decides to take an English holiday, goes down to Italy for a while. And at some point while it's over Europe, it does get shot down. What does that do? It makes the U.S. look incalculably weak. We can't get it accomplished, but some European nation can. So a nation that's part of NATO had to take care of it for us. Oh boy, wouldn't it be just a black eye on the United States if the British or the French managed to do that. Hell, maybe the Germans send up a fighter and they manage to bring it down. And then they recover all that sweet, sweet AI balloon technology. Wouldn't that be just delicious? I'm sure it would get paid for and repatriated to the United States for reverse engineering. Oh wait, we kind of burned the bridge with the Germans and the French and the British recently because of Bidenomics and things like that. Spying on Angela Merkel's private cell phone during the Obama era probably didn't help relations much either. The fact is that if the head of NATO, which is the United States, shows weakness towards China, it's going to embolden China. They're going to press harder, which they always do. They will violate the airspace of other countries potentially. We could get effectively blindsided when another nation says, well, we can take care of it. The United States wasn't willing to hit it while it was over rural Montana because of the risk of falling debris. You know what? Fuck it. If it smashes someone's cottage here, it's fine because we're going to guard our airspace. Maybe the Polish end up shooting it down. Hell, maybe it veers out over Russia and Putin decides to blow it out of the air. Wouldn't that be very funny? Having outlived its usefulness for data collection, I'm sure the Chinese would give the green light to them to do that. I wouldn't be surprised, now that you have multiple such devices apparently veering around the Western Hemisphere, if you see more launches. Because Biden's not doing anything about it. So now we've got two balloons. We think that there's some sort of tech that's controlling them. It's literally, provably violating U.S. airspace, at least at times, and nothing's being done about it. Yeah, that doesn't make the United States look weak. When the United States looks weak, bad things happen. It's fine to say, hey, I don't believe in foreign adventurism, interventions in foreign lands, etc. That's perfectly great, but you can't even defend your own airspace? That's a problem. You will see more of this. To be clear, it may or may not be connected to Blinken's visit to Beijing that's now been pushed back somewhat over this particular diplomatic issue. But the diplomatic side, while problematic, really isn't, in sum and substance, the most important part of it. A foreign nation is violating airspace in areas where people, U.S. citizens, live, and the U.S. military is not being given the green light to do anything about it. Don't you have any, like, super weapon toys that you haven't tested on the battlefield yet that you can deploy? Because I keep hearing these goofy stories in Ukraine, where we just gave $2 billion more, by the way, that dudes with hunting rifles are taking down MiG fighters and shit like that. If a farmer in the middle of nowhere Ukraine with a 100-year-old bolt-action rifle can take down a MiG fighter or a bomber or something, as we've, again, been told. It's not true, but we've been told it. If everything there is hunky-dory and all these weapons kick ass so much, why can't we take out a fucking balloon? Supposedly it's not even weaponized. Oh wait, we don't know whether it's weaponized. That might be the problem. Maybe Biden's not firing on it because it has a fail-safe mechanism to make sure that nobody fires on the balloon. Briefcase nuke comes to mind. Bioweapon. Maybe some chemical shells. Maybe it's highly incendiary and wherever it falls it'll just explode in a mountain of fire. We don't know that. Apparently they're not going to get close enough to the device to bother investigating to any meaningful extent, so we're not, I mean, a piece of new technology that is rightfully ours because it's entering our airspace without permission, and we're not even capturing it. Dude, it's called put a few bullets through the balloon itself. You don't need to attack the unit that's installed below it, the solar panels and the transmitter and stuff. Hit the balloon. It will slowly deflate. It will take days to come down, but that's fine. Whether it splashes down at sea or wherever it goes, I'm sure that because it's so large, visually speaking, if you can keep it in visual contact and generally track it, you can recover it. Unless it's got a self-destruct device, which is always a distinct possibility if it's a new prototype with Chinese tech that they may have stolen from a U.S. corporation in the first place. Maybe that's why they don't want to bring it down. They don't want to have to tell the public, oh yeah, by the way, top secret military technology is on this particular Chinese monitoring balloon. Maybe that's why. Oh shit, the Chinese obviously infiltrated, insert department here because they're the only ones that had this top secret material. Oh shit, maybe it's related to Biden's documents. Maybe Hunter Biden sold some tech secret to the Chinese or something. Why aren't they dovetailing this with Trump? Why don't they just say, well, clearly they're covering for Trump right now? Because Orange Man is so beloved by the FBI. They know that some of the documents that he took, he showed to Chinese people, and then they made this balloon. And now they're just, it's evil Trump helping the Chinese and the Russians laugh at the Biden administration. Why don't they put that out in public? I'm surprised that they haven't gone with that particular line already. The fact is, though, that this is dereliction of duty from a chief executive. You explicitly have the constitutional power and responsibility to guard the homeland itself. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a fucking balloon. Yes, you can bring it down. Yes, it might require several attempts. It's better to at least attempt it and not look like a total cunt. That's about all. Peace out.